I like elephants and God likes elephants. Here's the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast. How's that?
Awesome. I love it.
Okay. so, okay, cool. So, yeah, this is the first episode of our new podcast called the Unrealistic Elephant Podcast. And
Welcome.
yeah, welcome. And we've never done a podcast before, so this is going to be the most professional thing in the world, I'm sure.
Sure,
And
yeah. Especially since I haven't made any sort of internet content since high school. At least you've made the YouTube videos and stuff, but I don't really know what I'm doing at all.
yeah, and so my name's Ian, or Blinky, whatever you want to call me. And why don't you introduce yourself for people who probably don't know you? I made a documentary on Game Dude, if you don't know, and I did some other stuff.
Yeah. And I'm Nathan. I'm better known for being Mickey's friend from high school, and that's about it. We've been friends since was it kindergarten?
Yeah, we met in kindergarten.
We met in kindergarten and we've been friends ever since. We've never lost contact, and we just love watching movies together and I guess playing video games and stuff. But we really like watching movies together.
Yeah, there we go. I'm looking at your channel. The last thing you uploaded was Wii U Mario Kart 8 Mount Wario 8 years ago.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, just seeing how that works. I don't think I've touched my channel in a very long time, but hey, I'm glad to be back on the internet. I love attention and being told that I'm smart or even dumb at that point.
Yeah, well, I've been told both of those things multiple times, so I'm glad we both get the same enjoyment
Yeah,
out of it.
good. That just goes to show. Just goes
Yeah,
to show that we're kindred spirits, you and I.
I'm just wondering, like, what is the last video? Because the thing is with Nathan, he appeared in a lot of my older videos before the channel really went anywhere and got popular.
Yeah,
Not that
but
it's,
back
like,
when we were
super
doing
popular.
sketch comedy and just random YouTube videos we filmed in high school, it was stuff that never went anywhere, and those were fun. Those were like the most fun I've ever had making anything online. Um, yeah,
I,
it's yeah.
yeah, I looked, and the last video you appeared in on OK Fine Be That Way, I think, was Nathan's Summertime Lovin' 11 years ago.
Oh my god. Jesus, that was so long ago. And that video of me is even older that you used in that. It was from like 2008, 2009 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember
like
you were
oh
on
my
like a
god.
Brony Discord, weren't you? And then people kept spamming that in the Brony Discord. Wasn't that the case?
Yeah, I was a big brony back in high school, and and then they found that, and it was the end of the world. And I was like, I'm never gonna make a YouTube video again. And here I am starting a podcast like
Wait,
11
how did
years
they
later.
find that? How did they find that? You make it sound like it
I
was this deep
well,
cover
I my
operative.
my girlfriend at the time linked it, and then it never it never went away.
Okay, well,
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
welcome
so
back
funny.
after an 11-year absence. That's crazy.
Yeah, 11-year absence, 11-year hiatus. I return, and yeah, I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be back and talking about just whatever films we want to talk about. And I think that's what I really wanted to do is we both have been watching movies for a long time, and we both have very different tastes and very different perspectives. Um,
Yeah, that's the thing is we kind of tend to like the same movies, but we like them from a different perspective, I find.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And like I like talking about film. I talk to a lot of people who like the same stuff as me online, and in real life too. But it feels a little bit more like an echo chamber. I really want to talk to someone who has a different perspective from me, and I think that that's the best thing about talking with you and watching movies with you. So I knew that we had to let everyone know that two white guys had idea about some movies, because I don't think anyone's ever done a podcast about that.
Yeah, definitely not
Yeah,
white people.
No, never, never. I don't think a white person has ever made a podcast about film, let alone two white guys in their late 20s.
Yeah.
I think we're really breaking ground, and I think that that's really what it's all about. Is about, breaking new ground, blazing new trails, and creating a new genre. I'm going to call it a movie talk genre.
All right. Yeah. We'll get a patent on that.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
So yeah, this was actually Nathan's idea to do the podcast, but I agreed because I want to talk more about film on the channel, and I also want to have more like discussion style content. Rather, it doesn't always have to be a big scripted thing. And also, right now, where there's a bit of a lull in the channel because of content output, because I'm working on a really big video right now with my editor. This helps fill in that time and all that type of thing for when we ever, we're planning on doing this once a month. We're not planning on having this overtake the channel and become all the channel produces at this point. We just want to have a little bit of supplemental content that we can talk about and also cover more things that we're passionate about. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a great place, a great vehicle to just talk about stuff that, you don't normally get to talk about. Like, when would we get the chance? I know that your channel, you usually talk about stuff that nobody's been talking about for a while, but when would we get the chance to talk about these two movies in any other context at the same time, especially?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
So, I guess, I don't know. I guess the only other thing before we start on the movie discussions is the title of the podcast, where that came from. And it is a quote from, well, actually, it's not exactly a quote. There is a quote from Terry A. Davis, who is rest in peace. He was a computer programmer who made Temple OS from the ground up, which was a huge task, an amazing task for one person to accomplish, making an operating system. At the same time, he also had schizophrenia. He went on a lot of racist rants, and he's a bit of a controversial person. The quote goes, he's showing off his graphics on Temple OS, and he shows an elephant, and he goes, "I like elephants, and God likes elephants. Here's a realistic elephant." And then shortly after that, he goes, "You want to know? If you don't want to go for realism, you can go for better than realism." So that's what I like to. That quote has always stuck with me, and yeah, that's what I like to go for, better than realism. So.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about more than real, our real opinions, and we're breaking ground. We're gonna change the world.
Yeah, you're gonna change the world. Hopefully, well, maybe not to the same extent as Terry, but.
No, yeah, hopefully, God, no.
Yeah, and Temple OS, the Down the Rabbit Hole episode on that. If I hadn't seen that, good chance that the Game Dude video in my channel wouldn't exist the way that it is today. That was a huge inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's one of my favorite long form videos to just put on while I'm working, honestly.
Yeah. So respect Frederick Knudsen, respect Terry A. Davis. Thank you.
Thank you.
We had initially it was 2 movie recommendations. I also kind of sneakily recommended a third thing in between those two, but we'll get to that in a minute. The first movie that I guess we'll start with my recommendation, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, go for it. That's awesome.
Okay, go. So the first movie that we're talking about this time is Raggedy Ann and Andy, a musical adventure. So this was a movie that Nathan and I saw a long time ago. I mean, when did we first get introduced to this movie? I don't even remember.
I remember it was it was the Nostalgia Critics Top 11 Mind Facts.
Right.
It was one of his great top 11 lists where I don't know, I think this was like number 5 or 6 or something. I don't remember, but it was specifically just the whole movie of the Raggedy Ann's musical adventure, and it just had the strangest look to it from the clips we saw. And of course, you're not going to get a whole lot of depth from a Doug Walker review, especially one that's in like 11 other tiny reviews. So he basically was just talking about how scary this movie is and how crazy and wacky it is, and that's all I really knew.
Let's just torch the nostalgia critic in episode 1. Why not?
Well, yeah, just screw it. We're throwing it out. We're challenging him. Who is better at talking about movies? You guys who have never done this sort of thing before, or Doug Walker, who has made 4 films and almost killed all his actors?
Did he make a 4th one?
I don't know how many there were.
Okay, I just know the 3, the trilogy.
Trilogy, yeah.
So yeah, actually, I do remember that now because that's also where we learned about Cool World was from that video.
Yes. Oh my God, yeah. a lot of animation stuff. Sort of, I was driven and like turned to like weird animation stuff that isn't necessarily good, even just stuff that looked different. And that's another thing, is I'm really into stuff that is weird, really weird out there stuff. And this, like,
that was the attraction. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I didn't really know a whole lot about it until I didn't research it. I didn't go look it up. But you got, I remember I think we were still in high school, or maybe even middle school. I don't even remember. But you got a bootleg DVD of it, because at the time it had never been released on home video.
No, that's not true. It was released on VHS. It was never released on DVD.
Oh, never released on DVD. Sorry. And yeah, we watched like bootleg 240p DVD of Raggedy Ann and Andy, a musical adventure, and it was, I don't even know. So it's been a very long time since I saw this movie, and I just watched it a couple days ago for this express purpose. I tried to watch it as close to the date as possible to get my fresh thoughts on it. And I also took a 300 milligram edible.
I've done that before with this movie. I mean, not this time, but I have done it before.
Yes, I ran through it again while I was sober too, just to be sure I had the right stuff in my brain to talk about film. But wow, what a movie! Wow, what a film! But yeah, you go. I think you know a little bit more about this than me, so why don't you give the rundown?
Okay, so yeah. So Raggedy Ann and Andy, there's a reason that I picked it for the first episode of this podcast, is because when I first was starting to like branch off from the Game Dude stuff, I had like a short list of things I wanted to cover, and this was on that short list. And in fact, if you go back to when I was doing Ocarina videos, which I don't really do so much anymore, I was kind of like subtly putting it was kind of like hints at what was coming up for my my scripted content, because I would do a video about, like, I did an Ocarina video for the house theme, and then I did the Obayashi video. And then I did an Ocarina video for the Slings and Arrows theme, and then I did a video for that. And so I did a video for Dolly, Raggedy Ann and Andy, because I was intending to do a video for that too, and it just never came to fruition because I didn't really know exactly how to explain what I felt about this movie.
Yeah.
And it's if you've seen the movie, and this is going to be a spoiler discussion, by the way. I forgot to kind of mention that. But
full spoilers for both movies, I'd say.
Yeah. And if you've seen the movie, you know why it's so hard to articulate the feelings about it. And
yeah.
Because here's the thing. I watched this movie, back in junior high school, and it was this thing where it was such a weird and trippy movie that I loved introducing it to people, because it's just that off the wall, especially if I was, like, getting stoned with somebody. It's a great movie for that, but...
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, over the years, I've seen this movie, like, a dozen times. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's
just the way you talk about it, it seems like one of your favorites.
Yeah, that's the thing is when I first watched the movie, I was like, okay, like, you know, I enjoyed it, but it was kind of like a guilty pleasure thing, I would say,
Yeah.
where it was kind of like, okay, well, the characters aren't that deep and, there's too many songs and all that, but I enjoyed the experience. Uh, but over the years, I've come to realize that I don't think it's just a guilty pleasure thing. I think this is legitimately one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's a weird thing to say that because not everything about the movie works. I think it's a really messy movie. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I really, really love it. And it's really one of my favorites. It's directed by Richard Williams, who is probably best known for his being the animation director in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh
And
shit! Really?
yeah, and
Wow.
like he did the Toontown stuff especially. Uh,
Oh yeah. No, I
and
can tell that.
yeah, it's really bouncy and everything. And yeah, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit's also one of my favorite movies of all time. But I did learn a lot about the history of this movie and why it is the way that it is. And I'll kind of go into that more as it goes along. But
Yeah.
just, I guess, what do you think, having not seen the movie in a while and revisiting it? What is your opinion on it?
It was one of those movies where it's been so long, I really kind of, sort of forgot most of it. And like, I remembered it having crazy animation. I remembered specifically the big bee monster scene. I think the greedy, I remembered, but very very vividly, just because of how um
I just
crazy that animation is. It stuck in my brain for the rest of my life. I couldn't remember like what they were doing there or why they were there. I just remember that was one of the most incredible animated scenes I've seen in a long time.
with the greedy, I
And
always kind of like to believe that he's what the Great Mighty Pooh was before, like he was
yeah.
shit out. Like that's just what it comes across as to me.
Oh
Like
my
it's like he
god.
was a taffy monster, and then someone ate him and shit him out, and he became the Great Mighty Pooh.
Oh my god. That's hilarious. Oh, Frank. But yeah, I watched this movie with my partner Avery, and we both, again, we took 300 milligram edibles, and we just sort of fell into Raggedy Ann and Andy head first. And God, like, okay, so first of all, I just need to clarify because again, you know more than I do about this movie. For the credits seem to imply that every character was animated by a specific, at least a team of animators or one
Yeah.
animator specifically. Is that what was done?
Well, it's yeah. The complicated history behind this movie is that it was really a passion project of the composer Joe Raposo. He had like
Okay.
all the idea for the songs and everything, and he had a script
Yeah.
and everything. And he went to Richard Williams' production team in England. I think that's where he was. I think it's
Okay.
called Richard William Productions. And so then Richard William, who at that point had never directed a movie, he's like, "Oh, this is good. I don't really want to direct it though. I'll get someone else from my team to do it." And so he does. That person starts directing this movie and the storyboards and everything. That person dies during production,
Oh my
and
god.
so Richard Williams like, "Okay, I'll get another person from my team to do it," and then that person dies during production. So then Richard Williams at that point is just like, okay, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And yeah, he went in and he and the rest of his team really started to work on this movie. So that's kind of that's the short form
Wow.
version of it.
Now, is that I don't know a whole lot about film production. You went to film school, so I don't know a whole lot about this.
Yeah.
But animated movies aren't often directed like that. Like animators don't take one character; it's usually a team of animators. And all I could think about when we were watching this movie is, man, the allocation of like talents it's a little it's a little uncanny sometimes to see different people animating different characters that are all occupying the same frame. It's a little weird, but at other times it's like considering the amount of effort that can be put in by one person rather than divvying up talent amongst like a production crew. Man, some of this animation is incredible. Like just watching all of the opening sequence with Raggedy Ann and all of the toys. Just that, not even getting into the more creative use of animation. It's like me and Avery were just blown away at what was done here. And like,
Yeah.
I don't think that I've ever heard anyone other than you talk about this movie. I've seen it discussed in like smaller circles online, but I don't know why not more people aren't talking about this movie, to be completely honest.
It was a huge box office flop.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, and you know, about a month after this movie came out, Star Wars came out, and nobody really remembered this. So it's like,
there you go. Yeah, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's unfortunately been kind of lost to time, and it didn't get great reviews at the time either. It didn't get like massacred, but there was kind of people who said, yeah, it's unfocused. You know, Raggedy Ann and Andy don't really have a whole lot of character development and whatnot. But yeah, over the years, especially when the internet kind of rejuvenated a little bit of interest in it, and it's still a very kind of obscure movie, but it does have a bit of a cult following.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that movies like this can take on a second life after the fact, no matter how big they are, because like. Clearly, a monumental amount of work was put into the project, and it would be a waste to not let other people see this and let more people talk about it, because like, I don't think I've ever seen a movie quite like this, honestly.
Yeah, it's very one of a kind.
Yeah, and that's what I like so much about it is you can't really find anything that's like, ooh, that reminds me of Raggedy Ann and Andy. The only thing I could think of is maybe like, and not even in aesthetic ideas, just whenever I think of Raggedy Ann and Andy, I think of The Thief and the Cobbler. I just think of these like passion projects that ended up being box office flops.
Yeah, and that was Richard Williams too, The Thief and Cobbler.
That was Richard Williams. Okay, well that guy just has a really terrible time with trying to get his
the thing
is off the ground.
The thing is, Richard Williams, in my opinion, is one of the most talented animators that's ever lived. But his kind of Achilles heel was that he wasn't that good at budgeting his projects. And
yeah, he was a bit of a Hideo Kojima. We're just blowing everything and asking for more.
Yeah, and the only time where he really was able to just get all the money he needed was Roger Rabbit. So
yeah, that would do it.
Yeah, and
the award-winning film will net you a little bit more.
Yeah, and with Raggedy Ann and Andy, there are some sequences that are a little bit unfinished. For example, there's one part where they're going into Looney Land and then it all goes black and white. And I don't think that was an aesthetic choice.
Yeah.
It could have been. And then there's one part where they're singing the Candy Hearts and Paper Flowers song. And Raggedy Ann and Andy are kind of like far away from the camera and they're kind of obscured by some of the foreground and stuff like that. That was, another budget cutting thing. I mean, both of those sequences looked great in their own way. So they still managed to make them work visually, I think, but you can kind of tell.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, like any other thing, like if we're talking about budget cuts, I will bring up Evangelion. Did that same thing, and to a much more divisive degree. A lot of people did not like the last couple episodes of Evangelion, which are essentially reused animation and very, very simple animated sketches. But this film takes that and sort of does it in a more organic way that doesn't stick out as much. And I think that there's like I had that thought, like even in that same scene where Raggedy Ann and Andy are hiding under some brush or something and they're talking to each other. I remember thinking, man, the animation is a lot more choppy in these specific segments, and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes more sense. If there's budget reasons, of course, that smaller stuff like that would be cut down.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing you were saying is that you really don't see anything like Raggedy Ann and Andy that you can compare it to. And that was another thing on purpose. Richard Williams wanted the animation for this movie to be really fun and bouncy, but he also wanted to make sure that when people watched it, they wouldn't mistake it as a Disney movie. So,
Oh yeah.
and I think he really accomplished that. So, like, because it still has
There-
like the same bright, fun kind of atmosphere, like zippity doo dah sort of like tone, but it does not feel like a Disney movie.
No, it's got an edge to it, honestly. Like it's all very fun, but like something about it is a lot more. It has a lot more. A lot more edge. It feels world feels a little bit meaner in such a in a way once they leave the bedroom at least, which I guess is a deliberate choice, but more so than a Disney film would do, I think. Um,
I don't know.
like
Some of those Disney films can get pretty dark, so I don't, I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, but like in a different way. I
Yeah,
guess.
for
The
sure.
animation reflected that tone, and yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. Now, songs in this movie are also I didn't remember a whole lot of them from when from when we watched it when we were kids, but yeah, a couple of these are real bops. I like the music in this.
So yeah, the music in the movie, as I said, is done by Joe Raposo. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
Okay, he was a
Like
famous like kids composer. He worked on Sesame Street. He did "C is for Cookie." He did "It Ain't Easy Being Green."
oh
And yeah, that's the thing with this movie is these songs are some of the best stuff he's ever done, and he's done amazing work. Like the "No Girl's
yeah.
Toy" is one of my favorites. "Blue," which I remember we were watching the Muppet Show one time, and they played "Blue" on the Muppet Show. Do you remember that?
Did they?
Yeah, there was like I forget who it was, but I think one of the singers they started singing "Blue" from Raggedy Ann and Andy, which was great.
Oh,
And
I'm gonna have to watch that then, because oh my god, I didn't even think of that.
yeah, and "Rag Dolly" is another great one.
Dolly's been in my head. I was just gonna open this episode by singing that song in full,
I'm
because
just
it is
a
such a
rag dolly.
big Dolly, like, incredible. Like, and you can really tell that the music was a very important part to the project.
Yeah, that's very
Uh,
true.
uh,
A lot of people complain that there are too many songs in this movie, and I think that that's a legitimate choice and or a legitimate complaint. And a lot of people complain also that the songs don't generally move the plot forward because Joe Raposo, as talented as he is, he was used to like making sketch kind of songs, like "C is for Cookie," which isn't supposed to play into a big narrative. It's supposed to be like a self-contained thing.
yeah,
So I guess there were some growing pains in this, but at the same time, I think the music. I don't want to say independently of the movie because I think it really works within the movie, but I think just the music. If you have, I wish I had the vinyl of this honestly, or like
oh my
something,
god, yeah,
which I think you can get actually. I think I've seen it on eBay. Like it
oh my
is.
god, yeah.
Some of this music is really, really beautiful, and it's in no small part due to the voice acting, which is also great
Yeah.
all across the
I know
board.
Dee Khan as Raggedy Ann. It's like perfect casting. I didn't remember what the voice actually sounded like from before, and as soon as I heard her voice, it's like, oh my god, that is like the perfect voice for this type of character. It's
Yeah,
so light and airy. Um,
yeah, it's like so, like you said, it's very light, but it's also like warm. It's reassuring, and like it just every time she says a line, much less sings, it's just like your heart melts because that's how perfect she is at this role. I don't think anybody could have done a better job than her.
Dee Khan, of course, is I forget the name her character's name from Greece.
Frenchie.
Frenchie, yes, Frenchie, of course. And I like this better than Frenchie, honestly. She should have been known for this, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the hugest Grease fan in the world. I mean, it
Uh,
has its
by
place.
It has its place. It has its place as my mother's favorite movie.
Oh.
But we can talk. We can talk about Grease another time because I have lots of things to say about it.
Okay. We could do Grease 2 as well. I think Dee Dee Con's in that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I've heard of Grease 2. I remember I rented Grease 2 one time, and I turned it the day after because I didn't even get through it. 'Cause Mom and me were wanting to watch it because it was her favorite movie, and she said, "This sucks," and returned it.
Aw. Yeah, but...
My mother doesn't care about movies very much, but she cared about that.
Fair enough. Yeah, Didi Khan, I think... I mean, all the voice cast is great, but I think she stands out as the best in this.
Yeah. I'm not super familiar with any of the other cast, but Andy, the camel with the ring.
Yeah, I wrote down some of their names here so I wouldn't forget. Andy is played by Mark Baker. And yeah, he's a really great... like I said, No Girl's Toy is one of my favorite songs in the movie. And... yeah, like he's so good at this character.
Yeah,
like,
and he's so he feels so. He almost feels like the opposite, like the id to Raggedy Ann's odd. You know?
Yeah.
Like he's. I didn't even know, but I've been quoting this movie for years. Whenever me and Avery will get into a situation or some problems happening, I have been saying to Avery, I say, I'll tell you something. I'm really getting sick of all the dumb things happening around here.
I knew that was the quote you were gonna say.
I had no idea that was from this movie. I had just forgotten it, but it stuck with me this whole time. It is such a funny line. Like it plays in my head all the time. He's so good.
Yeah.
At giving that vibe. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's just you can tell like because Andy himself, he's a very adorable character, but he wants to like be a tough guy, and
exactly.
Like he just nails that voice so much, and yeah, it's and again, his singing is absolutely amazing. I assume it was the same singer. It just seemed to be like the same singers as the voice actors.
Yeah, that seems right. I think I looked it up. I think it is the same.
Yeah, and then Fred Sethman is the guy who plays the camel.
Oh, he's. I'm not a twangy country guy, but when he started singing Blue, what a song, man! It was that was worth noting that I was peaking with my edible at that point, and I was just sunk into my couch, like, man, I'm just relaxing with this camel. He's having a hard time, but I'm having a great time listening to him having a hard time.
So were Raggedy Ann and Andy. They started dancing in the middle of the song, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's just like, when you're wrinkled and cold, and they're dancing in the background.
They're breaking it down.
Yeah, and Joe Silver is the guy who played the Greedy, and my god, like, that has got to be one of the best single fucking scenes out of any animated voice actor has ever done.
Let's talk. Yeah, the Greedy. From this point, I could see. You sort of get sucked into this world. By this point, I was like, man, I must have been watching this movie for an hour and a half at this point, because I felt completely sucked in. And again, I was deep in the THC rabbit hole, but God, I felt so pulled into the film. Like I felt like I was there.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a cop out for talking about film, but like it really does want to pull you into its own little world, and it doesn't really care about how you get there, because like it's the Raggedy Ann, and we didn't really talk about what happens in the movie, but I think that if someone's seen this movie, they probably know. But yeah, basically Raggedy Ann.
Just imagine Toy Story. After the first 5 minutes, someone just hit a bunch of LSD.
Yeah, exactly. Someone hit a bunch of LSD, and they're going to save. What's her name? What was
Babette.
The name of Babette. I love Babette. Me and Avery love Babette. We had so much fun watching her.
I did too, actually. I forgot about you. I liked her.
Yeah, she was great. The twist once we actually catch up the pirate ship, when we find out that she has led a mutiny on the pirate ship and is now taking control. I honestly didn't see that coming.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a funny scene, and me and Avery were laughing. It was like I love being taken off guard, because I feel like I can predict a lot of movie twists, and that was like a small thing, but it was a fun thing. And I'm really glad that they did stuff with her because she was really funny.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and that's going back to one of the points that you were making before about how it sucks you in. Yeah, that's the thing too. Is with when they were making this movie, the studio would not let them rewrite the script. They wanted to do rewrites, but they were not allowed. But at the same time, you can tell like all the animators, all the voice actors, the musicians, everybody wanted to make this as good as they possibly could be.
Yeah.
And they really wanted to get you into the experience. Like the voice acting, like it's like I don't mean like it's just good voice acting. I mean I see these characters as characters, and that's an amazing feat because you think like a lot of people say like, oh well, Raggedy Ann and Andy, they all every time they like go into a new song or something, it's always about the new situation and not so much about their character development and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, because the voice acting is so good, because the animation is so engaging, they feel like real characters.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like it's really amazing because it's and that's why I think that this is a great movie. Because when I look at this movie, a lot of people could say like it's an unfocused mess, that there's not a lot of character development and stuff like that. But when I look at this movie, I see a really beautiful piece of art that's trying to work within its restrictions.
Exactly, because art, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. Most art, especially films, are dictated by what can be done within the means of like the production of the film, and within what they're trying to do, they created the best possible product that they could. And I think that's what I appreciate the most, because that's what's important really for me watching a movie is that people making it cared when they were making it.
Yeah.
And yeah, and passion projects can be terrible and can be misguided,
And
but
self-indulgent.
yeah, exactly, there's a lot of those, and you could say that the other film we're talking about was a bit of a self-indulgent passion project, but we'll get to
A
that.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just you don't even think about it. It just melts. It's not an animated kids film. It's not like a musical. It's just sort of Raggedy Ann, and it feels just like itself. And it's really refreshing to watch a movie like that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I don't think that there'll be any movie ever that comes together the way that Raggedy Ann and Andy did, for better or for worse.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, and I guess to go into the Toy Story comparison a little bit.
Yeah, because that was one of the first things I was like, when did this movie come out? And I was like, oh shit, that's a long time before Toy Story.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this movie is based off of one of the Raggedy Ann books, very loosely, and I believe it's the third one. I've listened to the audiobook for the first Raggedy Ann book. But yeah, it's like Raggedy Ann, and then the second one I think is Raggedy Ann and Andy, and then yeah, the third one is Raggedy Ann and Andy and the camel with the wrinkled knees. So this is kind of based off the third book.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the thing too is the idea of toys coming to life when like the owners are not around. I mean, that's a pretty simple concept. So I'm not saying like even Raggedy Ann probably came up with it. There's probably another thing, but it's kind of funny. Like the setup for this movie is pretty much the exact same as Toy Story, in the sense that it's about Marcella, which is Raggedy Ann's owner, getting this new doll for her birthday, and bringing it home. And
yeah, almost exactly. Which, by the way, the actress who plays Marcella does a phenomenal job.
That's Richard Williams' daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
She does an amazing job.
Yeah, she is really good.
Yeah, it's a basic child acting performance, but she's endearing. She says her lines really well. She doesn't mumble. She's cute. I've loved every scene that she was in. She felt very believable. It felt like she really cared about her toys. I guess that's weird to say because every kid would care about their toys, but she sort of oozed that whenever she was in her room.
Yeah, and I guess we should also probably clarify that whenever it's Marcella, it's live action, and then whenever she leaves, it turns into animation.
Yes, that's important. Which I thought was really clever. And also,
sorry, what were you saying?
oh yeah, I just thought it was also funny that Roger Rabbit was the same sort of way, and it's like, which came first? Was it this one or Roger Rabbit?
This one came about 12 years before Roger Rabbit, I think.
Wow.
This was This was Richard Williams' first directorial feature-length thing because he did short films like the Island, which you and I have seen.
Oh yes, yeah, okay, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's a good movie too. If you guys haven't seen The Island from the 60s, it's a good one.
Yeah, go check out The Island.
Yeah, I was gonna say about Marcella though. His daughter did do a really great job. I think if you kind of analyze what Marcella is doing, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like, what happens is she goes up to her room and leaves her dolls, and then her parents, I guess, call her for because she got a present or something for her birthday.
Yeah, and she if I remember, it's like they tell her to come get ready or come. We have something for you, something vague like that.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny though the way that it happens is like she takes the doll into her room while it's wrapped, and I think she leaves for a bit, and then she comes back and she unwraps it, and then she doesn't do anything with it. She just leaves again after that, and it's like really confusing. And then the next day she finds her doll and Raggedy Ann outside. And she's just like, oh, how'd you guys get out here? Did she not notice that the new doll that she got for her birthday was missing? Like,
yeah, I thought that was so funny. I mean, like such a strange way to cut that because everything was falling because it's the climax of the film. Everyone's falling. Everyone's like. It feels like the end of the world, and then it just cuts to this live action shot where all of these toys are just strewn all over the backyard. Yeah. And it's like, wow, that is what that would look like to a normal girl.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And then like she doesn't see the camel, but he comes back later, which is kind of like, what was the point of like forgetting the camel?
Yeah, it's like and after the camel joins them, are we just gonna? She sees the camel and she just accepts that she has a camel now, and she doesn't think about it. I know she's a little kid, but I feel like even if I was 7 years old, I would be like, where did this old camel come from?
I don't know. She liked it though, so.
Yeah, that's all that matters is that she was happy she had a new camel.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of funny because I found the live action version of Babette kind of looked like Annabelle. Like,
really?
Yeah, and the thing is, the actual Annabelle from the case is a Raggedy Ann doll. It's not actually that porcelain monster that you see. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because it's like you get like the real Annabelle and then the fake Annabelle from the movies, and then they kind of meet in this movie.
That's funny. Oh my god. But yeah, this is. I'm really glad you asked me to watch this movie again, because I haven't watched a movie that made me feel this good in a very long time.
Yeah, it's a very good, feel-good movie. It's very, it kind of got, like, a little bit of an awkward, but a very endearing, awkward tone to it.
Yeah, exactly. It really does feel like it's stepping into its own little world and just trudging forward with what it has, and trying to impart some lessons to the younger viewers and entertain all the adult viewers. Because I don't think any child could appreciate how good the greedy scene alone is, just from an animation standpoint.
Yeah, and it's not just that scene too. Like when they're in Looney Land and all that frickin' shit is flying, and they have the pie fight. It's really,
God.
like there's so much shit going on.
Like I can't even fathom how much detail would have to go in to make sure everything looks and acts how it should. I had an amazing time.
Yeah. The only thing I kind of wonder is like, I kind of understand what's, the equivalent of the like going on in the like real world, even though it's like the cartoon animated version that we're seeing. Like I can kind of understand how like they fell out of the window and then they went into that pond in her backyard. But what the hell was that taffy pit? And what was Looney Land?
Yeah. It's so strange because when they get out of the taffy pit, it's just a cliff with a sheer face with taffy running up it. So you must assume that it's just one big like crater of taffy. And then what's Looney Land? What even is that? Like it feels like it's its own dimension because I forget how they get there, but when they get there, it's like this black and white.
I remember how they get there. It's like they go on a tongue, and then the tongue takes them in, and then they go into that black and white world.
That was crazy. I always thought that black and white world. I mixed that up with Thief and the Cobbler. I thought that was from Thief and the Cobbler, but that was always from this apparently.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk about Thief and the Cobbler, but I would want to talk about the recobbled cut, and they still make updates to the recobbled cut to this day. So I mean,
I didn't know that they were still working on that. Holy shit!
Yeah, the last one came out like a couple months ago.
I need to check that out. I think I need a little bit more of this after this. I feel like I need a Raggedy Ann and Andy a musical adventure too.
Yeah, that's the thing is I was gonna save this till like after we talked about the stage musical, but the thing is I feel like Raggedy Ann and Andy, I really like those characters a lot, and I've kind of become a big fan of them, and I kind of feel like in the world where we're in, there's so many different old IPs that are being revived and coming back to life. Yeah. I mean, the highest grossing movie of this year was about a doll.
Yeah, so. Exactly, and that it makes you think like what could be done to bring that back.
Yeah, I think that they're very. Oh, sorry. What were you saying?
Yeah, I was saying if it was brought back, think about what could be done, and think about where it could go from here. Because like at this point, is this the only Raggedy Ann movie?
It's the only feature-length one. There was like different cartoons from Chuck Jones. There was an animated series. There was a few other things.
As the only feature-length Raggedy Ann film, it sort of set a standard that Raggedy Ann is this very rich visual storytelling medium, and you could definitely do more with this with the right people in the right hands, with the right visionaries. It could be. Maybe not as good, but it could be a piece of something as good as this. Yeah, I mean, I personally, if I were to make a new Raggedy Ann thing, I wouldn't want to use any of Joe Raposo's music. Like, I wouldn't want it to be compared to this old one. Yeah.
But I would like.
It would have to be its own thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I could definitely see them if they did it maybe in the style of like the Paddington movies or like Marcel the Shell with Shoes On or like those. Like, I think that these characters are really endearing and could totally. Carry something like that.
100%. I 100% agree.
Yeah, I'm just looking through to see if I have any other notes that are worth.
That's fine.
The two kind of creepy dolls, like the "Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Oh my god!
What did you do and why?"
Oh my god! I those still freak me out. That was what I always remembered from the original Nostalgia Critic thing that got me interested in this. He showed that whole clip, and it was so freaky. Like I didn't know why they animated them like that. Turns out they wanted to be weird, and I love that.
There's a bit of a. Have you seen the movie Seven?
I actually haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't spoil it for you, but there's like. One part where there's a really intense scene where someone's going, "What's in the box?" And it's kind of funny because like my friends will do that, and sometimes I'll quote Raggedy Ann right after that. I'll be like, "What's in the box? What's in the box?" And
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so glad I watched this movie again. This is definitely going. That's the thing is when we watched this originally, it was in the lowest possible quality. It was I think it was the 4:3 VHS cut, so missed a whole lot of screen.
Yeah.
And now you can watch. Yeah, if we have to plug something before we're done of talking about the movie, go and watch the 4K version of this movie. It's just for free on YouTube. It's probably the best this movie has ever looked.
Mm-hmm.
And it was incredible to see it in such high quality. It really it gave me a new appreciation for how hard people worked on this movie. Because even back then, that movie would have never looked that good in that time period.
Yeah.
But they still put in that work, and it hasn't aged a day.
Yeah, absolutely it hasn't. And yeah, that's the thing is like I honestly believe this movie's good enough to be on Criterion, like 4K. And
Oh yeah,
I really I don't know if they'll ever do it, but I really hope that they do because this is a really great underrated movie that needs to be on home video by them.
Yeah, you've got your platform. Talk to them.
Yeah,
Talk to Criterion right now.
I mean, if I did that, I'd be there's a million Obayashi things I also want on Criterion. So
we have to start with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But
All right.
Yeah, I think that's mostly covers a Raggedy Ann and Andy a musical adventure, but we watched something else, or at least I watched something else. Did you?
I'll be frank. I didn't get through all of this. It's been a busy week, but I have skipped through it, and I would like to hear a lot about what you have to say about it because I haven't seen enough of it to a full opinion, but I would love to hear more about it.
Okay, so yeah, Raggedy Ann. I guess it's called Rag Dolly, a stage musical, but it has multiple different names. But basically, after Raggedy Ann and Andy came out, Joe Raposo said that he wanted to do a stage version of it. The plan was initially that this movie was supposed to be a stage musical, and then it was going to be a live-action Hallmark movie, and then it changed into to the animated thing. So this is actually kind of going backwards to what it was originally supposed to be. And yeah, Joe Raposo, after the movie came out, he started to develop this in the 80s, which I gotta say, you have a movie that bombs at the box office that nobody saw, and then you're like, I'm gonna make a stage musical out of it and try to put it on Broadway, which it did actually make it to Broadway.
Yeah.
Which that's kind of it's kind of an amusing angle to take, in my opinion, but.
Yeah, it's kind of ass backwards, but hey, whatever boats your float, man.
Yeah. So anyway, get more into this. I guess I won't talk about this for too long, but I'll at least
don't Raggedy Ann us out.
Yeah. I guess what I'll say about it is that the interesting thing is, even though it's by Joe Raposo, he made the music and the lyrics and everything, this does not follow the same story as the movie, and it also does not feature the same songs from the movie, other than Rag Dolly and Blue. Those are the only ones.
No, I've seen the beginning, and I was like, okay, this is going a very different route. Oh my god.
Yeah, so, and even Rag Dolly, the lyrics to that song are heavily altered. So,
wow. So,
this stage musical was made by, the music was Joe Raposo. This is definitely a passion project from Joe Raposo. He definitely felt very strongly about these characters, considering he spent about a decade trying to write songs for them and everything like that. But the part of the musical that was, I guess the playwright part was written by William Gibson. So, William Gibson has made kind of some darker sort of stage adaptations and stuff like that. He did, what's it called? Miracle Worker, which got adapted into a film, which I haven't seen yet, but I want to see that movie. And, Yeah, and if you know the history of Raggedy Ann, the doll herself, who was made by let's see his name, Johnny Gruel. Is that how you say his name? I'm not sure.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
If
So
tell you what, if you could look it up after and just edit in yourself saying it the right way if you did not say it right.
oh, that's way more effort than I usually put into my videos. I just keep the mispronunciations there, so I don't think I'll do that. But anyway,
Yeah, that's fine too.
so the story of Raggedy Ann is he made this doll back in, I think, the 20s or actually before the 20s. Like, he made it in like the 1910s, and
Wow.
he kind of made it as for his daughter Marcella, who was a real person. And so the doll really blew up in like the 20s or whatever, and Raggedy Andy. And but unfortunately, Johnny Gruel's daughter, Marcella, she got infected from a vaccine, I guess, and she died when she was 13. And
Jeez.
yeah, so it's kind of like a darker story behind this. But William Gibson, when he was making this stage musical, he was really fascinated by that aspect of Raggedy Ann's history. So the stage musical is about a dying girl in bed who is, being kind of cheered up by her dolls, including Raggedy Ann and Andy. So, like, if you kind of know that backstory, then it does make sense why they made this musical the way they did and followed the story that it did. But if you don't, this is the most jarring, like, what the fuck? Why would you ever make a musical about a dying girl in bed, like a dying 10-year-old?
From what I saw, I was like, this is like the opposite of what I thought. like the movie. I just come off of the movie, and it was the most heartwarming, nice, loving thing I'd ever seen. And that it was a total 180. And I was like, my God, what could have possibly possessed someone to go in this direction? And I guess now I know, but still.
Yeah, still, like, this is a thing where you think this is gonna, like, go on Broadway, and it did, and it also got played in, like, Moscow and everything. And the recording I watched was from 1984, which I guess was before the Broadway production, because they added some songs in later, and they took out some songs. They workshopped this in the 2 years that it was running. But, yeah, this musical absolutely bombed, unsurprisingly to me.
Yeah, it seems like that's just what happens with Raggedy Ann and like the properties that it has. It's just, or at least it's just the people who are working on it.
Well, it's not just that, but like it's also just the fact that it was so dark. It's like, and like for me personally, if I was a parent, I wouldn't have any restrictions on anything my kids watch. I would just let them watch whatever, and then maybe explain the context to them. But if I was the type of parent that actually did, I guess, have restrictions on what my kids watch, I don't know if I would have taken them to this musical.
Yeah, it's. I remember I started it up. It was like about 5 minutes in. I went down to the description of the video, and it was like trigger warnings of suicide, child death. It was like, oh my God, what is this musical about?
Yeah. So. Yeah, and what it is about is Marcella is apparently dying from a broken heart because her mother left her and her dog choked on her goldfish and died or something.
Oh my God! That's horrible!
And so, it's really weird because, like, it's hard to understand, because what I kind of thought is that Marcella goes to sleep and then she kind of has this fantastical dream sequence where her dolls are coming to life and everything. But even before that, like, they have this thing where, like, these doctors come in and they're like, oh, this is your diagnosis. Yeah. And it really reminds me of, like, that scene from Family Guy, like, you have AIDS. Yes, you have AIDS. Like,
no, I watched that whole scene, and that was really good. I really liked the doctors in this fucking movie. They were hamming it up. They were having a great time with it. Especially considering the subject matter, it sort of set that tone and I'm not sure if that carries out. But it seemed like it was having fun with the dark.
Yeah, that's the thing is this movie kind of has the same problem or the stage musical kind of has the same problem that the movie does, in that it's a little unfocused. Well, it's pretty unfocused. It's it's the characters don't necessarily have that much development, but my God, like the sets here are so great. The songs, Joe Raposo did them again. They're really great. The actors in the recording I saw really sold like the movement of the characters and like how raggedy and floppy Raggedy Ann and Andy were. Like there is a lot of really good stuff about this musical. And it's a lot darker than the movie, and it's a little bit I wouldn't say it's as charming as the movie, but I do think this also does deserve to get a little bit more attention alongside the movie. It's a good companion piece to it, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I will definitely be checking that out with it.
Yeah, and it is kind of this thing where it's like, it's an 80s fantasy stage play, and if you think about a lot of the 80s like fantasy movies, they were pretty damn dark, like Return to Oz or Never-Ending Story. This is that kind of like tone that they have for this stage musical. And and while I absolutely 100% without a shadow of a doubt understand why this musical flopped, I also do think that it deserves to be remembered.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's important to preserve that stuff, because film is hard enough to preserve, but stage shows and plays and musicals like this are incredibly hard to preserve, just because of how Broadway is and how like live performances are.
Yeah,
it's very hard to archive that, especially considering the changing casts and things like that. So it's really good that it's at least archived and available for anyone to see, and it's just on YouTube, right?
Yep, you can find. I think that there's actually a show recording of the Broadway showing too, or at least part of it. But the one that I watched was, I guess it was the ESIPA version of it, which was from 1984. And that's definitely a thing. And it has a lot of elements to it that really work. I'm not going to say that it's absolutely, I prefer the movie personally. But I also do think that there's a lot of value to this stage musical too. And you're absolutely right, too, with the way that people... it's a very unfortunate that a lot of stage musicals don't get recorded. Or, like, just stage plays in general. Because, like, I remember when we were watching Slings and Arrows, William Hutt, who played Charles in the last season, like, he was known for doing his King Lear at the Stratford Choir... Or, not the Stratford Choir. Stratford Festival.
Yeah.
And... he was apparently amazing. That never been recorded, though, so we can never see what he was like on stage, and he's unfortunately passed away, so...
That's the saddest thing for me, is I want to be able to see these things, good and bad. So, I don't know. It's good that these things are preserved. I wish that more things were preserved like that. Yeah. Even if you're talking about, like, the most mainstream of stage productions, like Hamilton, when that first started coming out, I don't think that there was a actual available recording you could get of that until it was like 8 years old or something, when they finally put it on like Disney Plus. I might be getting the dates wrong on that, but like when it was well past relevance. And it's like, what is the point? At least give us some way to look at the production that you're giving us, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that my final thoughts on the stage musical, it's really fucked up. There's some things in there that don't really age too well. There's this one panda character who speaks in broken English, and it's pretty but there's and like it's really dark and weird, and it doesn't make any sense really, but it is an entertaining kind of 2 hours if you do plan to check it out. It is the most bizarre stage thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But like, it's really like the production's really good on it, the acting's really good, the music's really good. So, yeah, I won't get too into the details of the plot because if you do watch it later, then I don't want to spoil it for you. But yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I think that way we can close the book on Raggedy Ann. Hopefully not forever. Hopefully we'll see her again very soon.
Yeah, I miss Raggedy Ann and Andy. Nothing's been done with these two in years, and that's the thing is like everybody like every time I go into an old person's house, I always see Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls. Like these are well-known characters. It's just that they're not as prominent in pop culture as they used to be.
They should be, because they're cute, and I think more cute things should be explored a little bit more because people feel good, and that's enough of a reason.
And also, like Raggedy Ann and Andy, they're really cute, but there is kind of a darker side to them, both in the terms of the Marcella story and like the Annabelle story and all that stuff. So there's a lot of different directions you could take this, and I think it deserves to be explored more.
Absolutely. So, going off of Raggedy Ann and Andy. So when we first had the idea, when I first had the idea of this podcast and pitched you the idea of us each giving each other recommendations and having us watch the movies, I didn't know what you were going to recommend first. And when we had our first initial call, detailing how we were going to do this, you let me know that Raggedy Ann was the movie that you were going to pick. And I didn't really plan on doing anything sort of related, but I knew that since you were picking a cult musical, that I wanted to get something sort of similar for the first episode. And I decided that the best thing to do would be a cult musical with almost the exact opposite tone you could possibly find from Raggedy Ann and Andy. So
unless you watch the stage musical, potentially.
Oh yes, unless I watch the stage musical. Maybe it's a little bit like that. I've chosen Terrence Zdunich's cult phenomenon from 2008, maybe? I don't know.
I think it's, I'll get it up.
2008. Repo, the Genetic Opera. Now, this is a movie I saw, and I feel like I saw it shortly after it came out. I didn't see it in theaters. I had heard about it online.
I don't think anybody saw it in theaters.
No, I don't think a single person saw it in theaters.
Well, I mean, they have since then because it's become a cult thing, but not when it came out.
But like when it initially came out, the production studio did not believe in it very much. It had a limited release until eventually it had a full release, I believe, after the cast and crew toured it around. I think it was mostly around just the U.S. or the American countries. And
American countries.
These American countries.
America.
America. Anyway, and I guess I was drawn to it because at that age I wasn't watching a lot of musicals. It was a very gritty time in movies. It was the same thing in like games and stuff. Everything felt very mean and mean-spirited, and musicals.
Yeah, they had that edge.
Really... Yeah, exactly. That edge I talk about in Raggedy Ann was cranked up to a level that makes Raggedy Ann look like Raggedy Ann.
Yeah, well, I mean, early 2000s. I mean, I know what gave it the edge. It was 9/11 happening, and then everything got a whole lot darker. So
yeah. So enter Terrence Zdunich. Do you know anything about this guy?
Terrence Zdunich. He was the guy who played the grave robber or whatever.
Grave robber. Yes,
yeah.
He is the. He's not the director, but he was one of the creators of the whole Repo. Genetic Opera. He originally it was a short film that he tried to make in I believe it was There was an off-Broadway show in 2005, and then there was a short film shortly after that to sort of pitch the idea for it. And in 2008, the film was made, and this sort of blew my mind because I didn't know musicals could be like this when I saw it as an angsty teenager with lots of anger in my heart. I was like, musicals are frilly, musicals are gay, musicals are
That's actually a
whatever.
thing. Like, I'm wondering if people will think that we're gay because our first recommendation was 2 musicals.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. I am gay, but I don't think Ian is, unless he hasn't told me.
No, I don't think I am. Maybe I am. I don't know.
Well, who knows these days, honestly? With
Yeah, really.
But yeah, so basically, Raggedy and Andy was pretty self-explanatory, so I should probably get into. Repo is a musical about a not too distant future where organ failures are abundant and the world, millions of people die until a benevolent corporate master called GeneCo, and they start offering organs on payment plans so that if you need an organ, you can get an organ. And at that point, surgery is used as a fashion statement until eventually they start sending people out to repossess these organs that have not been paid for, called Repo Men. And that is basically where we drop into the film. The world is basically built on top of graveyards of people who have died from organ failures and repossessions, and it's a brutal world. And then this is where we start our musical. And I guess I was just I had always thought of musicals as more of a lighthearted affair. Even Terrence Dunich, one of his biggest inspirations is Rocky Horror. He said he always wanted to make the newest Rocky Horror.
Yeah. I think he did.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and even Rocky Horror has like gruesome elements in it, but still it felt like it was having a lot of fun. Repo is having a lot of fun, but with that late 2000s, mid 2000s edge. Music is really hard. The music is really aggressive. This movie had its finger on the pulse for like goth and emo culture at that time. It was like, we know what you kids are feeling. You are feeling violent, and you're feeling like the world is against you. So here's a world that's against you with lots of violence. And yeah, I guess that's what drove me to it. I don't think I could ever say that this is, in confidence, a very professionally good movie. I don't know if I would recommend it to a lot of people, but yeah, I want to know what you think, because I don't think I've ever asked you what you thought about this movie.
Yeah, because I do remember, I think it was you and Dylan discovered this movie at one point.
Yeah.
And you both told me about it, and I was kind of like, I didn't watch it at the time, but I watched it, I think, a few years later, probably while I was already off at, like, university or something. And at the time, I was kind of like, it's okay. It's like, not exactly for me and whatnot. And I kind of forgot about it. And that's why I was really happy that you recommended it for the podcast, because I probably would not have revisited this movie had you not done that. And upon revisiting it, I actually liked it a lot more this time than I did when I was an angsty teenager, which is kind of funny because, you'd think that it would be the opposite. I would grow out of it. But I actually learned to appreciate it more this time. Yeah, there's a lot that's really good about this movie. I think, for me personally, when people do this really dark, futuristic setting, I think sometimes it comes off as kind of a try-hard thing, or like when people do this type of aesthetic, like, to give you, I think, the worst example of this aesthetic being done, which you'll agree with this, is Sucker Punch, the Zack Snyder movie.
Oh my god. Oh Yeah.
So like yeah, so like I look at something like Sucker Punch or like those type of things, and I was kind of I not that I thought this was that bad when I first watched it, but I did kind of write it off as like, oh, this is trying to be like cool and edgy and stuff like that. But no, I actually do think that there's like a little bit of a plot here that's like kind of, it's well done. Like this whole I guess dichotomy between this girl and her father, and
Yeah.
like all this stuff. The world is really interesting, and yeah, I actually quite like this movie this time around. There were some problems I had with it, but I definitely had a much shinier view of it this time than I did initially.
It's funny because I honestly had the opposite. I remember loving this movie as a kid, thinking it was the hottest thing ever. I would watch it all the time, and I remember seeing this now, and I'm like, this is a lot. I remember thinking it was the coolest movie in the world, and I think going back to it with that mindset, that idea that it's like the coolest movie ever, it was like, okay, this is it is a little try-hardy in some places, which to say the least, but it's definitely. It's the same thing we said with Raggedy Ann. Is it seems like everyone on this film really cares,
Yeah,
and really enjoys what they're doing, especially Zadunich as the grave robber. He is having a lot of fun with it.
yeah,
Paris Hilton is in this movie, and she does a pretty good job too.
yeah.
Good
I was
as
kind of
yeah.
surprised.
I read that apparently what this movie had run out of budget, and Paris Hilton did like nightclub appearances to pay for more of the production of this movie because she believed in it so much.
Oh, that's
So
nice of her.
yeah, for sure. Um, the entire aesthetic of this movie is built off of this idea that you can finance whatever. You can buy whatever you need over a certain course of time, and defer payments, but until eventually something will finally
Yeah.
come to get you on that, and that materialism can only take you so far. But the idea that it is applied to human organs, which are a necessity for life, sort of changes that idea. To a degree, that's a significant degree, I would say.
Yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
the thing when you were saying like it's try hard and everything. Well, I do agree to that to an extent. I also feel that most of what the movie does is purposeful. Like they have social
yeah,
commentary, they have characters they really want to like develop. They have this world that they're really, trying to, get from, a social commentary of current society at the time. So, and arguably this is kind of like Korea already, where like 85 of the percent of the people in South Korea have like, facial reconstruction surgery. But
yeah, exactly. It kind of it's really surprising how close they got with that.
yeah, and so like, well, I do think that yeah, this is a style that's not going to appeal to everybody. It's not trying to appeal to everybody
No,
either.
it is trying to appeal to a very specific demographic of teenagers and young adults in 2008 to 2010, I would say.
Yeah.
Um,
But
yeah,
at the same time, I don't think it's just a movie that's the sum of its special effects or the sum of its like
it
aesthetic
has
and
some
whatnot.
pretty it has some pretty good special effects. It has an aesthetic of this place. Like watching this movie, you feel like you need to take a shower after every song, because there's so much splatter and so much grossness. But in the end, it's the main characters all have a lot of heart to them, and a lot of I guess heart. The main character, Shiloh, she has a lot of heart to her. She
Yeah.
clearly has a very
I was
I don't know.
sorry, I don't want to like
I,
rain
I
on your parade, but in my opinion, Shiloh, I felt she was more sympathetic because of her situation rather than her being a really like intricate or deep character.
that might be right. I might have to agree with you on that.
But
It's
I did
mostly
think
because of her situation, not because of her character.
yeah.
It's more because of her situation.
Yeah, I did think the girl who played her which was the same girl from Spy Kids, like those old Spy Kids
Yes.
movies. She did a really great job. Like her singing voice too was really really good, and her
Well,
acting and
yeah,
everything. So no,
they definitely they tried to get her to be like a pop star. She had like songs in every single Spy Kids movie, and she was really pushing for some sort of musical career, or at least the people behind her were.
apparently in
Um,
one of Rodriguez's movies, like Machete Kills, maybe I'm not sure, but yeah, she's like she's turned into like a Rodriguez woman adult where she's like half naked and everything, which is kind of
oh
funny
my god.
considering the way that he was casting her in Spy Kids.
Yeah, like I also while I was looking this movie up, I found out that she is now like a hardcore religious Christian and or maybe like a Mormon or something, and she is currently married to one of the guys from Big Time Rush, and they have 2 kids together.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, that was a lot of information about things that I know, and now I guess I just have to live with that now.
Yeah.
But I think if we're talking about who is the best performance in this movie, I think Anthony Stewart Head as Nathan.
Yeah,
Is
Nathan was the
probably,
most compelling character for me personally.
honestly, I would watch another full movie, and I believe that they said that this was the middle part. The producers claimed that this was the middle part of a trilogy, but since nobody
Yeah.
really saw it, it wasn't really going to happen.
No, that's not
But
exactly what happened because with its cult following, I think this could have a sequel and a prequel. But yeah, that
yeah,
was the initial intention. But what happened was I think they lost the rights to it. So they actually did a spiritual follow up. Have you heard about
yes,
that? The Devil's Carnival?
Devil's Carnival. I have looked into the Devil's Carnival, and I've watched the first one, and I think I had a really good time with that one.
Yeah, I was
Um,
wondering if we should maybe include that, but I was kind of figured like, nah, because it's another feature film and a short film on top of this, and we were already
yeah,
going to talk about the Raggedy Ann stage musical as well. So
exactly.
maybe
Yeah,
a different time, but yeah,
I
if
will.
you
That's definitely on my list for things I'd like to talk about because again, they've got a great creative like aesthetic going on, like that drives the whole movie. Everything feels you feel like you're plopped into this scenario, and it feels very well fleshed out. It feels like they want you to ask more questions about it. Like Paris Hilton's character Amber is this. She's addicted to the Zydrate, the anesthetic that the addictive anesthetic that they use for the organ transplant surgeries, and she is the head of. If you look at, there's like posters in the back, and in some of the shots that for Zydrate support services, and she is the head of these services as like the one of the members of this family that controls Gene Co. But in reality, she's actually completely hooked on it as well, and completely addicted, and bumming it off of the black market. And but it felt like they cared a lot, and they wanted you to ask questions and wonder how this world works. And I love movies like that. I love worlds like that.
yeah, yeah, and I do definitely agree because I mean with yeah, a lot of what this movie does, it's I find it kind of interesting that Paris Hilton of all people is denouncing plastic surgery in this movie. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, but for whatever it's worth, I think that they do a really good job. And the director of this movie, Darren Lynn Bousman, who also did The Devil's Carnival, I think he's mostly known for his work on the Saw movies.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and I
He is.
haven't seen the Saw movies that he's done, but he did Saw 2, 3, 4, and Saw Spiral.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, they got someone who definitely knew what they needed for this specific kind of visual style, because it is filthy. This movie, guys have all their organs ripped out and played like puppets. People's faces fall off. It's gruesome. But it feels it gets to the point. There's so much of it that it almost completely desensitizes you by the end. It's like you're not even. I remember watching it near the end when Shiloh is knocked out after she passes out from withdrawal from her medicine. She wakes up, and it didn't even faze me that she was just laying in a puddle, like an inch deep puddle of blood on this stage, and just like nobody decided to move her. It was just a normal thing. Like gore and viscera and violence is just normal in this world.
Yeah.
And it sort of feels that way, the way that the Largo family, the people who own Jinko, are the one of them. Luigi is this violent, crazy man who will just stab you and kill you if you slightly tick him off or piss him off.
That was kind of like what I was gonna say is like Roddy's children in this movie. They're kind of doing like a violent Three Stooges routine.
Yeah.
And it is really funny. Like, I really enjoy it, but I can see why some people might not be too keen on that.
and also I would say that all the songs that involve Roddy's children sort of are not as good as any of the other songs in this. Because, like, essentially, and Terrence Dudunich talks about this a lot in interviews, is that this movie is not a musical, it's an opera, because they're singing all the time.
Yeah.
Which is true. They are all. I don't think there's any. There's like I think maybe three spoken lines of dialogue, and
there is spoken lines of dialogue, but it's the music's also in the background and those scenes.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, it's this intertwining web of personal conflict and people being off at other people and setting other people up and indebting other people. One thing I don't like so much about this movie is these comic book retellings of people's backstories that will happen.
Oh, really? I actually quite like that.
I think that they're very stylistically good, but I don't think that they had enough confidence in them, because it feels like every time they show one of these, they'll immediately then cut to a scene where they're singing about exactly what they just said in the comic book.
Yeah, I think that's more of a criticism on the song that they sing, though, because the reason I like those comic book scenes is that they're kind of like, because this is an opera and they're constantly singing, it is kind of like a good bit of downtime where it's mostly instrumental music, but you're still getting a story that's being presented visually at the same time. So I actually kind of like the contrast of the two. But
yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, for sure. Nathan. Nathan is a repo man working for Jinko, slicing people open, ripping their spines out like Mortal Kombat. Bring them back to Jinko, which I mentioned when I was watching this movie. What exactly do they do with these organs once they take them? Like, you can't give them to someone else. Like, that's not how surgery works. I'm not a doctor or anything, but I don't think you can just take an organ out of, like, an organ out of someone violently and then give it to someone else after it was already...
Not ripping it out of them violently, but I mean, people do organ transplants. I mean, I think it's just heightened. I think it's a heightened version of an organ transplant. I think that's what they're going for.
There's a guy that at one point who gets like strung up like Batman, and then he looks like he cuts this guy's like spine out or something.
Yeah.
It's like, what could you possibly need that spine for?
Is that the one part where he like uses him as a puppet too, when he sticks his hand up and starts like doing that?
Oh, that's a different one. Another thing, Anthony Stewart Head plays this great like, Jekyll Hyde thing.
Yeah.
His singing voice is very different depending on who he is, because he's got this soft, just really beautiful voice. Honestly, that's what I thought when I was. He's got an amazing voice, and he was in I've never seen it, but just from perusing his IMDb, he was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was in a couple things, but I'd never really seen him in anything else before this. He's got an amazing voice, and he's got this beautiful tone whenever he's speaking to his daughter, but then whenever he's working, whenever he's killing people, he's got this grovelly Mr. Hyde voice that he
Yeah.
All he craves is violence. It sells the fact that what happened to him has broken him completely, and I believe that 100%.
Yeah, he has a lot of range in those two performances, and also his performance on Buffy is completely different from either one of those. He was my favorite character on Buffy. He was Rupert, I think that was his name, but
I need to watch Buffy. So let me break down what exactly is going on here, because it's very, very complicated. So there's Nathan, and he had a wife who was pregnant, but she had a disease, a blood disease, and then he cured her. He made a cure for her, and then the blood disease, the cure for the blood disease, caused her to violently explode. Like blood was shooting out of her eyes, and she was bleeding out of every orifice, and he could only save his unborn daughter, which was Shiloh, which is Alexa Vega's character. In reality, Roddy Largo, who was the main guy from Jinko, was actually in love with his wife, Marnie, and poisoned the cure so that if he couldn't have her, then no one else could. And at the same time, there's Mag, who, by the way, I have to say, Mag is played by Sarah Brightman, who I think I read that this was her first film appearance, and she was a really good classical singer, like a soprano in multiple Broadway musicals, and this is the first time she'd ever been in a film, and she
was
does an
good.
amazing job.
Yeah, she was really good.
She is an amazing singer. And she is blind and gets new eyes from Jinko, but because of her contract that she signs with them, now she has to be the face of the company, so now she is indebted to them even though she wants to leave. And that's what she is doing in the movie, is she is trying to leave, knowing that someone's going to kill her. And it's a web of people hating each other and distrusting each other, and in the middle of it all is Shiloh, who has no idea what the fuck is going on because she's never left her room.
I mean, she snuck out of it a few times, but I mean,
yeah, she likes bugs apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sneaks out and she meets the grave robber when she was trying to catch a bug.
Exactly.
Who for some reason screams as loud as he can while secretly stealing stuff from graves.
Yeah, and I think within a universe like this where it's very high concept and all that, it kind of helps to have a person or a character like Shiloh who hasn't been exposed to a whole lot of it yet, because it acts as like the audience's vessel to sort of see this stuff and be kind of shocked and confused by it.
Because Roddy is of course a horrible person because he's taking advantage of the public. Nathan murders people every day. The grave robber does the thing that his name is. You need someone who can sort of relate to someone who's like, what the fuck is going on in this world? And I think that is good. Shiloh can come off as a little whiny sometimes, but in that it's sort of understandable considering her situation. Yeah. That's the big thing, is the situation that she has found herself in really lends to the likability of her. I think I kind of agree with you on that.
That's fair. I don't think she's like a bad character or anything. I would more describe her as serviceable than like an amazing character.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I would agree with that 100%. Yeah, the music in this movie is, I'm going to go ahead and say it's really good, because I am into this like hard rock goth genre of music. I think it's really good. I think I would have been embarrassed to admit it back when I liked this movie, but I think that this it's a really good album, and I listened to this album a lot actually.
There's a lot of standout songs on it, and I would say that I'm not really a huge fan of that genre of music. Not to say I hate it or dislike it even, but it's just not something I usually go out of my way to listen to. But for this, in the context of the movie and the tone and everything, and also just the songs in of themselves, they're really well done.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I guess while you're on that, I'll bring up something.
You go ahead.
This is the most minor complaint in the world, but it is something I kind of noticed. I sometimes find the ADR in the movie is a little bit too perfect, in the sense that, like, I find, like, the songs and everything, they kind of drown out all the background noise. Like, for example, there's, like, one scene where they're, like, in a circus, and, like, there's a huge crowd and everything, and it's a big crowd, and, like, you can barely hear the crowd. It's like a small little murmur. Like, it's just...
Yeah, and then they push her into a tent, and, like, all the sound stops.
Yeah.
As if this tent is, like, blocking out all noise.
Yeah.
And for a musical, it's kind of weird for the sound design to be a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, like, sometimes it sounds a little bit too perfect, and other times it just sounds, like, a little bit confusing, like, the choices, but...
Yeah. The film continues. It basically goes on. Shiloh is offered to basically control Jinko because Roddy hates his children. Because one is a murderer, one is a weird sex pervert, and the other one is Paris Hilton. So shit out of luck at that point.
Yeah.
So now Shiloh is, again, completely in the dark. She has no idea what Roddy has to do with her father. She has no idea what her father is doing. She doesn't even know who... she does know who Mag is, because Mag is this huge celebrity.
Yeah.
She's on flying billboards everywhere.
Well, then Mag comes to her house later, doesn't she?
Yeah, in a really good song. Where she tells her all about what happened, and what her mother was like. Because Shiloh never knew her mother, because she died in childbirth.
Yeah, and I guess that prequel probably would have been about her and her mother, wouldn't it have been?
Yeah, it feels like a lot of the film and a lot of the background, the backstories for a lot of these characters were saved for some sort of film. I feel like Mag could have been developed on a lot more. That comic book intro that we get for her really fleshes out why she's in that situation. But she dies fairly shortly after find that out, and it's not... I really wish I knew more about her, because she was great. I had a really good time with any of her scenes. I really liked her design, and I really liked how she almost seemed like the one sort of sympathetic character for Shiloh, someone who was concerned about her. Because as we find out, her father is not concerned about her in the slightest. He's more concerned about just keeping her.
Well, I mean, he learns to get more concerned about her. As the movie goes on.
By the end.
Yeah. And that's why I do like Nathan the most as the character, is because he does kind of go on this arc of, you like him at first, even though you're like, oh, he's a bit overprotective, and then you hate him as soon as you know he's become a repo man, and then, as you start to sympathize with him a little bit more as the movie goes on, and so, like, he was the only character I had somewhat conflicting feelings about, because... pretty much Shiloh was good, everybody else was awful, but Nathan actually had, like, a little bit of a...
complicated...
complicated thing.
It wasn't so cut and dry. It wasn't simple. Roddy is this evil businessman. But
it's kind of like a cartoony, like, he reminds me of, what's-his-face from Monsters, Inc. a little bit.
Oh, my God. He's got, like, a weird name.
Whatever. I'll look that up.
Oh my God. We'd spend the rest of the podcast thinking about this one guy's name. But yeah, like, I think, so the big thing with Nathan is he is keeping Shiloh cooped up in her room for her whole life. Basically every moment of every day.
Henry J. Watermoose. That was the name.
Henry J. Watermoose. That is...
Water Noose, sorry.
Water Noose.
That's even better. Water Noose.
Yeah. So Nathan is keeping Shiloh cooped up in her room because he is afraid of the world. And to be fair, it is a scary world. It is people like him are out there killing people because they defaulted on a payment on a liver. And that's the thing is, there's this brutality, even in these cases where you don't have to die if you lose these organs. Mag specifically, the only thing that she had replaced were her eyes. So if Nathan came and took her eyes, she wouldn't have to die in that case. But she does end up dying either way. But even if he did come to her, he wouldn't let her live, because that's just how things are in this world. If you default on payments, you're dead. It doesn't matter the severity of it or what you defaulted on. Your life is forfeit. It's just this unspoken rule of this world, and it's really brutal. But I feel like Nathan has this conflict in him, which I guess is apparent with the Jekyll and Hyde thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to say, like, a lot of, like, the guy said he wanted to make this kind of like the next Rocky Horror Picture Show. I actually find the characters in this to be more compelling than Rocky Horror Picture Show.
That I was about to say, like, honestly.
I mean, I enjoy Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's not, I don't think it's like one of the greatest movies of all time or anything. I don't think Repo, the Genetic Opera, is either. But, like, I do, like, appreciate the cult following that they've garnered over the years. And I've never actually been into a Rocky Horror theater, but I would like to go to have, like, the social experience. And I know that people do that with this movie too, where they dress up as the characters, and I think that there's kind of a ritual.
I did, when I saw this movie as a kid, that I didn't know that it was such a big. You know what? I hate to talk about Doug Walker again, but I saw the first time I really heard about this movie was on a review from someone on That Guy with the Glasses, and I can't even remember who. And I was like, I gotta see this movie. It looks.
Was it Todd in the Shadows? Because he did the music stuff.
Might have been. I don't know. I don't even remember. It might have been one of the weird ones. I don't even remember. That was so long ago. There was a time when me and you would watch That Guy with the Glasses stuff so much, or maybe it was just me.
Well, for me, I was really into the Nostalgia Critic. I wasn't as big into. I mean, I did like Cinema Snob and I did like Spoonie, but I mean, for the most part, I stuck to Nostalgia Critic.
Anyway, with I get sidetracked really fast.
Oh, actually, now that just before we get back on the topic, it looks like the Cinema Snob actually did Repo the Genetic Opera, so maybe it was him.
Oh, well then maybe it was him. Shit.
That video was 3 years ago, but maybe it was from a time before that. I don't know.
I would have to look it up. Oh my god, it was Paw. We're gonna get back on topic, but the guy's name was Paw,
oh, okay.
and he had headphones. That was his thing. He was wearing headphones, and he reviewed musical.
I don't even remember Paw. So anyway.
Oh my god, there were so many people there. Who even remembers how many there were? But yeah, the big thing I think I never really thought about when I watched this movie before is by the end of the movie we find out that Nathan. Not only has Nathan been lying to Shiloh about what happened to her mother, he's been lying to her about her condition because he's been poisoning her medicine to keep her sick, which is kind of changes how I think about him. Because before it's very much a protective thing. It's I don't want anything to happen to her because I love her so much.
Yeah.
But once you cross that line of poisoning your own child, it's like this is no longer about her, it's about himself. And I think he realizes that once it's brought up to her. The moment that she knows about it, he sort of that Hyde character doesn't really come back after that. It's almost like he's made a full realization of what he's become, and they become one. And I really like that about that final section of the movie.
Yeah, I felt that the third act was maybe a little bit rushed, where like all that stuff was happening on the stage. Maybe it's just me. I understand like that does add sort of like a frenetic, chaotic like thing to it, but it was kind of like, oh, I hate you, Dad, but then now I love you, and I'm sorry, Shiloh, but now I'm dead, and like that was all that stuff. So
Now I'm dead. Go live your life. Now you'll be free. Yeah, it was a bit much. Um, Build up to this movie is really good. In terms of the music, I think if we have to talk favorite songs, the song that Nathan sings before he denies going to kill Mag, Night Surgeon. It's probably my favorite song in the whole
yeah,
movie.
that is a
Because
great
it
one.
really shows his range of both of those styles of singing. Because it's very full of emotion on Nathan's part. It's definitely my favorite song. That and the song right before the scene, everyone gathers on the stage.
Yeah,
When
I was gonna say that
Shiloh
one.
finds it.
I think it's called "Didn't You Say." I think
Yeah,
that's what
that's
that
the
song
one.
is. Yeah, that was my
Yeah,
favorite.
he holds this really long note near the end of that song, and it's like really impressive. He's got the range, man.
Yeah, it certainly does.
Yeah, but yeah, in terms of this movie and like the creators of it, now Terrence Zdunich is pretty much the mastermind behind this. It was directed by
Well, there's also
I,
it seems to have a co-writer, Darren Smith.
I did. Terrence Zdunich is like the face of it, but Darren Smith also helps write it. But I know that Terrence Zdunich is the one that's usually in the interviews and talking about these things. So
Okay.
to say that he created everything isn't really fair, but because it's definitely a group thing. But it seems like Terrence Zdunich is the most vocal of them.
Well, yeah, but like
And
even in like the Devil's Carnival or whatever, I mean, he got Alexa Vega,
yeah,
and he also got Darren Lynn Bousman to do those movies. So everybody here was really passionate about it.
he has this ability to really bring out the most in people, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like really make people care about what he's creating. I do know it would be irresponsible for me to not talk about how he did do some fucked up shit. Apparently he was abusive to some of his former partners after the movie. It hasn't really come out very much, but I should mention that. But I don't really know enough about that to talk about it. But
I
he
don't even see
seems
that
like,
on like his Wikipedia, so I don't.
yeah,
I can't
neither
say
do
anything.
I've watched a couple of YouTube videos in regards to that and read a couple of articles.
Okay.
But again, not a whole lot of detail, so I won't speak too much on that. But I will mention that if he's a piece of shit, I don't like him. If he isn't a piece of shit, I do like him. I think that covers all bases.
Yeah, I think that goes for most celebrities and whatnot. But
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. I
there
think that a
there
lot
are
of people.
horrible people. I mean, like, John Crickfalusi's a horrible, horrible person, but I still like Ren and Stimpy.
Yes, absolutely. Same with. I want to say I haven't seen a whole lot of Woody Allen's movies, but same with him. He's kind of a piece
Yeah,
of
Woody
shit.
Allen and what's his name? Guy who did Chinatown and Rosemary's Baby, Roman Polanski. Those are
Oh
kind
yeah,
of the two big examples people point to when it comes to
yeah,
like separating art from the artist.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, you could name lots of things like that, but I understand that a lot of people were shocked when all that came out because a lot of people see him as this figurehead of this cult following. He was like the Room's Tommy Wiseau. Not saying that it's the quality of the Room, but like if you had to
Yeah, like the face of the
create a
project,
figure,
kind of.
yeah, Terrence Zdunich was the face of that whole project, and he hasn't really talked about it much, and I don't know enough about it. But he is still out there doing stuff. They did the Devil's Carnival. They did the sequel to the Devil's Carnival, which I haven't seen.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
and he has like a road show called American Murder Song, which
And that's apparently really good. It's like a bunch of murder ballads about American murders in American history, which sounds like a really fun time. I
yeah.
have not checked that out, but I really would like to.
Yeah, like let's say this guy is a horrible person, and I'm not saying that he is, but let's say that he is. You can definitely see like the passion that he has for this story in this project, and how much everybody around him it was very infectious. Like everybody on this project, I think, much like Raggedy Ann, they really wanted to see it succeed.
Yeah, and I think that's also why I chose this. Is one thing I remembered about Raggedy Ann is how much everyone seemed to care about the product they were making, and that's what I thought about this movie when I first saw it. Is people actually gave a shit? Because back in 2008, a lot of movies came out where people did not give a shit, and it was refreshing to see something like that with this sort of vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never seen anything like that as a kid, and it sort of blew my mind. So yeah, I still throw this on every once in a while. I would consider myself part of that cult following, and I was never a goth kid either. Like I was never part of that scene. Maybe if I confident enough to dye my hair or put on eyeliner, I might have. But it stuck with me. It's always stuck with me.
Fuck the conformists.
Yeah, fuck the conformists.
Yeah, I kind of always want. I bet the goth kids from South Park really like this movie.
Oh, I know they were like this movie.
Remember, if you don't want to be a conformist, all you got to do is dress like us, talk like us, and like the same things we do.
Oh, Frank. Okay. Yeah. I love this movie, and I'll continue to like this movie.
Yeah.
I'm willing to say that it's got its problems. And I'm glad I recommended it, because I really wanted to go back and look at this one with more of a critical eye, rather than just going through it as a fan of it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad that you brought it up too, because like I kind of went into it like, even though I would say I didn't like it that much when I first watched it, I wouldn't say that I had like an analytical sort of approach to it. I just kind of thought it was a little bit try-hard, and I didn't really like the vibe. So you bringing this movie up, I can really like kind of approach it from my kind of older, more analytical mind, and I think it really works. Like I was surprised how much more I liked it this time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I dug to see if I could find. When you told me that you had found the Raggedy Ann stage play, I dug to see if I could find the 2002 short film that it was originally based on. I found like a couple short clips, but unfortunately there was no real way to find it. People have reached out to Zadunich and Darren Smith trying to find it with no luck. So unfortunately that looks like that's probably lost media, but if that ever comes up again, I'll be here talking about it, because I can talk about Repo any day.
I also think that, like, at one point I might just want to recommend a bunch of short films for us to talk about rather than do, like...
Oh my god, yeah, we'll just... Yeah.
Because there are some really interesting short films out there that I want to see, or that I want to talk about, rather. But for now, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say about the movie?
A deleted scene of Paris Hilton going to the grave robber for Zydrate, and she doesn't have any money because her father cut her off, and then she fucks grave robber. And every time Terrence Zadunich holds like a Q&A or something, he mentions that scene about how he got to fuck Paris Hilton with very much pride.
I mean, didn't seem like the most difficult thing to do back then.
like I don't. Do you want a medal, Terrence? Do you want a trophy?
Well,
who hasn't at this point in 2008?
Yeah. So
not slut shaming no one. I bet Paris Hilton was having a great time in 2008.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. Okay. So other than that, is there anything else?
No. I think I've said my piece on this movie, and I'm really glad we watched it.
Yeah, and I would definitely recommend it. I mean, if you're into stuff like Rocky Horror, and or you're into stuff like, I don't know, The Crow, or even if you like Sucker Punch, which I know some people do like Sucker Punch. I'll never really understand it, but
no. If you if you listen to any sort of goth music or identify with that
Yeah.
at all.
If you like
listen
My
to
Little...
Chemical Romance,
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say.
if you like My Chemical Romance, you will like Repo the Genetic Opera. It's like a My Chemical Romance music video come to life.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of agree with that. It does feel like a music video come to life in the sense that, like, yeah, it's often shot like a music video in the way that music videos are highly stylized, but it also does play back into a story too. So, I mean, like I said,
exactly.
it's not it's not just style over substance. There is substance here, but it's a lot of style.
Yeah, no, for sure. And a lot of films try to be like directed like a music video. I'd say Sucker Punch's fantasy sequences are just directed like big music videos, almost like anime music videos from like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's not what this is at all. It very much has that design mythos, but it has a really a lot of structure behind it. And I don't think if you watch this movie, you will not leave unsatisfied.
Yeah, unless you're just completely put off by the style, which I can see happening.
Oh yeah, for sure. If you are not willing to give it that time of day for the style, you probably aren't going to enjoy this movie at all.
Yeah, but I also think that, like, you know, if you do go into it with an open mind, and it's, you know, you look at it more at the elements that are not just the style, there is still a lot here, even if you're not in that kind of demographic it's shooting for.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. So,
I think I've said what I've had to say. So yeah,
I think
check
I did
out
too.
Repo the Genetic Opera if you have painted nails.
Yep. If you have painted nails and I don't know,
Eyeliner.
what do eyeliner? If you like dressing up like a member of Kiss, or go check out.
If you like summoning demons in your bedroom, check
Yeah.
out Repo the Genetic Opera.
If you like old school Nintendo, because apparently that's a thing that emo kids like. I didn't really understand that.
Wait.
Well, yeah, there's that song that called, I think, I Must Be Emo. Have you ever heard that song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's where one lyric is like, screw Xbox, I like to play old school Nintendo. I must be emo. I don't know why that song came into my head after like leaving my brain for 15 years, but
Well, let's go play old school Nintendo then.
Yeah. But before we do that, let's recommend 2 movies for next time. And
okay. I got a good one.
Okay, I do too. And okay, I guess you can go first this time. Since we did my movie recommendation first this time, so
yeah, sure. So this is a movie that I remember I watched this movie for the first time last year. I got a text from my father, and I love getting a text from my father because my father doesn't text me very often. He likes to do his own thing. But every once in a while, he'll text me and be like, "You should check out this movie," and I'll check it out, and I'll be like, "What the fuck was that?" Because we've got very different tastes in movies. Mm-hmm. My father texted me one day in November of last year and said, "Have you ever checked out RRR?" And I was like, "What is that?" And he said, "It's a Bollywood movie. It's an Indian film."
Yeah, it's not Bollywood.
It's not Bollywood. I shouldn't say it's Tollywood, I think. So it was filmed in Tamil. It was filmed in all sorts of languages. And me and my partner have watched this movie 3 times now, and it's 3 hours long. And it is legit one of my favorite movies I've seen. I've never watched any sort of Indian movies. This movie might make me watch a bunch more Indian movies because if they are anything like this, I am so in.
Okay.
That's my recommendation is RRR.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a thing where I haven't seen it yet, but a lot of people really like it, I know, so I'll be happy to finally check it out. I've been meaning to watch it for a long time, but I never got around to it.
Oh yeah, it's about 3 hours, 10 minutes or something. Yeah, you get comfy, get some popcorn. It's going to be quite a ride.
Yeah, for sure. And so my movie recommendation for next time, It's Halloween kind of themed because it's October coming up.
Oh yeah.
But it's not exactly a horror movie, although I don't know, maybe it is a horror movie. It's kind of like an action movie that's so dark that it might as well be a horror movie. From 1986, The Hitcher.
Hitcher.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of this?
I have heard of it by name. I don't actually know anything about it. I think this might be a situation where I'll be going into this one completely blind.
Awesome. That sounds good too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't really know much about RRR either, other than it was filmed in multiple languages. So.
No, yeah, I would say go in blind for that one too, and then look up stuff on it after if you need to. But oh my god, I'm so excited to talk about RRR, and I'm so excited to watch Hitcher, whatever it is.
Great. So, yeah, and that's all she wrote for this time. So
that first one down, and hopefully more to go, at least once a month, because this has been great.
Yeah, this will be a lot of fun. So, thanks everybody who joined us. Hope that you liked the movies. If not, well, that's life.
If you guys want to watch the movies, I know that RRR is on Netflix in Canada at least.
Okay, I'm not sure where the.
Anything?
I mean, it's on YouTube, but I don't know where officially you can see it. But yeah. I know there's a DVD. There's other stuff. I'm not sure
I'll
exactly.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys will. You guys are all smart. You can find out. The Hitcher is
exactly. So
we've all got Google.
And I just want to make it clear, I'm talking about the 1986 Hitcher and not the 2007 remake.
Okay, yeah. No, I will be sure to do 1986 Hitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for having me on. I will be on for the foreseeable future.
It's like, yeah, having you on, it's our podcast pretty much, so.
All right. Well, yeah, I'll that's it for us. Signing off.
Yep. See you next time.
See you next time. I don't know how you end the podcast.
You end it by saying, see you next time.
See you next time.
There we go.
The Unrealistic Elephant Podcast is brought to you by two nerds with weed addictions. If you want to support the show financially, as well as other projects we're working on, please consider supporting us on Patreon. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to subscribe and hit the notifications to see more. You can also send us money via Super Chats or on any of the videos, and join our Discord server to talk to us and our followers. Thanks for listening.